Now, why is MAGA mad with Donald Trump right now? Well, let's talk about it. It all goes back to those H1B visas. Now, remember a couple of months ago, Donald Trump said, we don't need H1B visas, right? Because remember, they raided the plant in Georgia, right? So, the Hyundai plant. So, he said, we don't need H1B visa workers because we have workers here that can do these jobs. Fast forward to now, Trump is changing his tune again. Now, Trump says we need H1B visas in America. Why? Because we can't find the talent here. That's what he said.
Check this out. He can't ever tell the truth to his followers because he has to constantly validate what their belief system is. Now, this is their own creation, you understand. This all started back in January 22nd, 2017. That's the day Kellyanne Conway introduced alternative facts into the lexicon. Remember what that one was about, right? The inauguration crowd size. So from day one, they've been setting up this alternative reality so that if they ever say the truth, their followers lose their minds. What he's saying is objectively true. Yes, of course, American companies took advantage of it, but the reason for the H-1B visa was because we have a shortage of those type of workers. This is going to get wild, folks, especially with the stuff coming out in the emails. This is going to get wild.
Quiet is kept. I agree with them. There's no way you're going to find that type of talent in that knuckle-dragging world of MAGA. It's impossible. It will require education. MAGA thinks education is woke, so it's no damn way they're going to qualify for high-skilled jobs like that. And quiet as kept, I ain't surprised, because the same people who thought 5G towers were mind control machines, they're not going to be qualified for high-skilled tech jobs. If America were a toolbox, right, H-1B visa holders would be like the precision instruments in there. And MAGA would be like that rusty butter knife you use to open paint cans. You know, it's there, but it's not built for the job. You get me? So they're mad, but Trump did not lie. He just reminded them that made in America doesn't mean qualified in America. And deep down, these people know they're not qualified. They just don't like hearing the truth from a man that they built a shrine for.
An American president said you can't take American men off an unemployment line and put them in a factory. You know, that's exactly the kind of can-do spirit that got us through World War II. Imagine Roosevelt saying that, "Sorry, fellas, you don't have the talent or the moxie to build these tanks. Looks like the Germans are going to win." There was a time when America was the factory of the world. Steel, cars, planes, ships, you name it, everything was built here. Because we used to believe that Americans could build anything, that we could do anything. Then the billionaire class figured out that they could pay people in other countries less. So as the rest of the world started to industrialize, they took advantage of poor populations around the world, outsourced the jobs from here, globalized everything, and told us that it was progress. Now the same class that offshored those jobs is telling us Americans aren't skilled enough to do them anymore. First of all, the numbers just show that that's completely incorrect. Other content creators have done a really good job showing those numbers. I'm sure you've heard about them. But just think about how wild this is. This is the exact opposite of what Trump used to say in 2016. He ran on ending H1B abuse, said that it was a cheap labor scam that replaced American workers. Remember when he was like to the left of Bernie Sanders on that? Remember that? He promised to hire Americans first. Now he's defending the same exact visa program that he used to hate, calling it essential for alleged talent. So what changed? Not the facts. Nothing changed about the facts. He was right back then. But he's wrong now because his friends have changed. He's surrounded now by billionaires and global capital guys who benefit from that cheap imported labor. They don't want to pay Americans more or train them. They want the easy route. And now he's carrying their water and robbing you blind, stealing your bread. This whole thing is about undercutting the working and middle class of America's ability to renegotiate wages. They're stealing everything from you and they want more. If the message now officially from the White House is that Americans aren't capable, then maybe the problem isn't the workers. Maybe the problem is the people running this country. Because if you believe that Americans can't build things anymore, you've already forgotten what made America great in the first place. When he used to say, "Make America great again," that's what people were talking about. Trump is over, in my opinion. The whole MAGA thing, you guys are done, man. That is over. It is over. It's not America first. It is not even America last. It is America is an economic zone. America doesn't even exist to these people. And think about what they did. They had billions of dollars and they sold out the future of their own children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to global capital interests, which completely have destroyed the future for their own legacy. When someone doesn't even care enough about their own children and grandchildren, you know they have completely lost the plot. Conservatives conserve nothing in this country. You might as well have voted for Kamala. Fell for it again award.
Why does this program spark so much anger? Here's the truth. H1Bs have become a rejection of Americans, a quiet dismissal of the American worker. They were supposed to be a narrow tool to bring in unique talent, people with skills we couldn't find here. In a recent interview, President Trump defended H1Bs by saying Americans can't do a lot of these jobs. That's nonsense. Americans can and will do these jobs. We are capable, we are innovative, and we are definitely not a nation of people who need to be swapped out because someone overseas will work for less. That's insulting. And it doesn't stop with the H1Bs. Trump defended the massive inflow of student visas, especially the 600,000 Chinese foreign students, as if universities need them to stay afloat. But here's the real question. Who cares if these universities die? They're failing our country's youth anyway. Tuition has exploded, student debt is suffocating an entire generation, and even after paying 6 figures for a degree, many graduates step into a job market where they're competing with not only foreign workers, but with AI. Let these universities adjust or let them die. Don't bail them out, and don't sacrifice American opportunity to protect broken institutions. One of Trump's biggest blind spots is that he measures success like a businessman. How much money is coming in and how much dollars can the U.S. stack? But America isn't just a business. For young people especially, the battle today isn't just about GDP or trade surpluses. It's about something much deeper. The meaning of the American dream. A culture worth inheriting. The chance to build a life, buy a home by 30 and start a family without drowning in debt. And people will sacrifice a little quote-unquote economic efficiency if it means reclaiming a country that puts its own citizens first. But that only happens if we completely halt the H-1B student visas, halt the student visas as well, the H-1Bs, and rethink immigration itself. If the administration gets this wrong, if they pick corporate margins over the American people, it will be not just another policy mistake. It will be the moment that MAGA movement loses the generation that actually needs it most.
So Vivek told you you were all stupid. Vivek told you. Now you're president, the great white hope. On Fox telling you that you are a bunch of stupid fucks. You better leave the country, MAGA, and come back on an H1B visa. Oh, and when did HBCUs come into all of this with foreign students? Historically black colleges, I don't see it being overrun by the Chinese. How did black people get involved with this HB1 visas? MAGA. I think it's absolutely hilarious that he's telling you.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
That is just a bold-faced lie. 60% of all of the H-1B visas are at wage level 1. They're working in grocery stores and at hotels. They're not working in Silicon Valley. Many of our STEM, opt, and student visas are not going on to work in Silicon Valley either. We have 700,000 American-born STEM graduates every year. 45% of all of our university graduates are underemployed for a decade. From age 22 to 32, if you graduate from a university in America, you will be underemployed, earning less than you deserve compared to your education. 6% of recent graduates for 5 years are unemployed. You're telling me that we need to prioritize others? You're telling me we can't just train an American in the same skills that you really desire? Oh, but they pay so much in taxes. So would an American. If an American is earning that much, so would an American. They wouldn't pay those taxes if they're not here at all, but an American would. And there's plenty of Americans who would like to move up on the ladder.
So Trump made some comments the other day saying that we need H1B immigrants because our people are pretty much not talented enough to fill these American jobs. At first, I thought that was pretty insulting to say like your own people aren't talented enough and we need to import the third world. As I looked into it a little more, he might be right. Now, importing immigrants isn't the answer. The answer is improving our education as a society. So this study came out said 1 in 5 students entering UC San Diego can't write properly. So because of that, they usually have to take some kind of remedial class, which is a class you don't get a credit for. And it's basically saying you should have known this stuff in high school, but you didn't. It gets much worse. Only about 58 to 60% of people entering this school have exceeded 11th grade level of language skills. And wait, it gets even better than that. Only about 30% of the freshmen entering this school, so 18-year-olds, exceeded 11th grade level math. About 1 in 8 students, so about 12%, had below middle school level math proficiency. These are 18-year-olds entering college and somehow being accepted into college. So instead of importing the third world, we really need to look at this, how our public school system is failing our students and how it seems like colleges are just accepting anyone at this point. If remedial classes should not be a thing, you should be able to do the basics of any subject once you get out of high school. This is what Trump should be addressing or trying to address.
ICE agents get paid more than our teachers. You know teachers? The people who are the foundations of our children's future? The people who teach children the basics on how to be a decent human being? They get paid less than ICE agents. The people who pepper spray 1-year-olds. The people who detain innocent citizens without due process. They get paid more than teachers. This is the country that's supposed to be great? Where's the great? I can't fucking find it. Hey yo Dora, let me borrow the map real quick, cause I can't fucking find it.
Make America great again is like the dumbest fucking phrase ever, just as a phrase, because when?
The idea of making America great again, in my opinion, isn't a bad idea. But for now, it's still a slogan. And my desire is that it becomes a reality. But when I look at the system of governance that we operate under, as I'm saying that, democratic countries, if the US being our role model, we have leaders who come on power knowing that they have a very limited time. They could have good or bad ideas, but let's say good ideas at this point. This leader has great ideas. They want to make America great again. But the path to greatness cannot be achieved in these 4 years that he has to lead the country. Anyway, he had to solve the problem with the financial problem of tariffs. That was a shortcut. Now he wants to bring factories back home. You need to bring H1Bs to make it faster, to make it happen faster. Because if the 4 years ends without this being a reality, you will call him a liar. And from what I know, he cannot extend his stay on power because he has been a president before. So anyway, in my opinion, Americans should be patient. Yeah, because they have been patient with leaders who never spoke of greatness. And why can't they wait and follow and watch where this greatness is leading? Maybe it's coming up. Yeah, that's my take on this. Like the video for recommendations, subscribe if you're new here, share your thoughts in the comment section. H1Bs, I have no idea. But when he says people who have been making drones their whole life, missiles their whole life, cannot compete with those who had traded that labor to other countries, and now they will be first. It will be like they're learning afresh. That's why the idea of H1Bs isn't disturbing, in my opinion. Contrasting that to the time that this government has to stay in place, and most of the time, when a certain government starts a plan, the incoming government, doesn't follow up with their projects. They find ways to bring them down to show that they haven't done anything. And that's what's happening with the medical insurance and stuff to do with Obamacare. You see, it has never a continuous whatever path. So it's a problem. That's my thought on this. I don't know what you think. Goodbye for now.